Welcome to this video. If you don't know me, my name is Julia and I really love perfume, so I'm here to talk about it. You may have heard of Diptyque. Diptyque is today one of the most famous niche fragrance house in the world. And you may ask me why, because it's a niche perfume brand and they usually don't go as very rural as Diptyque. So we'll try to see why in this video, and I hope you're going to stick with me until the end. The Unlikely Trio is the fitting name for the three founders of Diptyque, whose distinct and unconventional backgrounds came together to create one of the most iconic fragrance houses in the world. Yves Questelon, the designer, was a French theatre and stage designer with experience in Vietnamese theatre. He became the business mind and emotional heart of Diptyque, developed fragrances inspired by his travels and memories, and translated storytelling into scent, linking memories and place into the fragrance experience. Christiane Monteiro-Gautreau was a French interior designer and textile designer educated at the École des Arts Décoratifs in Paris. She was an architect. Initially, she collaborated with Knox to lead the third member on textile design before co-founding Diptyque. Her design sensibility influenced the boutique's aesthetic. She helped conceptualize and create the eclectic mix of home goods that made the original boutique feels like a cabinet of curiosities. And finally, the last member, Desmond Knox Lee, the painter. He was a British painter and former World War II cryptographer for the British Army. He designed Diptyque's intently recognizable black and white labels and typeface. His artistic eye shaped the brand's visual identity. It was intellectual, eccentric, and highly private, the mystic of the trio. His hand-drawn lettering still appears on Diptyque's labels today. And I'm pretty sure you have already seen this aesthetic. Something like this, or this and this. And you may ask me, why were they unlikely? Well, because none of them had formal training in perfumery, which is quite important for people who want to build a perfume brand. They came from art, design, and theatre, field outside traditional business or fragrance. Yet, their shared love of art, travel, and aesthetics led them to open a boutique at 34 Boulevard St Germain in Paris in 1961. This boutique was the beginning of the story. As you can see on my obviously pretty map, the boutique was really in the center of Paris. But at first it wasn't that much of a hit. It became famous over time. Originally, they sold printed fabric and textile, but also wallpaper and on decor, imported decorative objects, mostly from Asia, and handcrafted home accessories. They weren't going into perfume at first. It wasn't until 1963 that they created their first scented candle, Eau Papier, Cannelle and Thé, followed by their first eau de toilette L'Eau in 1968. Today, perfumes and candles are the main line of business of Diptyque. Their most famous one, the City's candles, are one of their best sellers. Those products helped them to enter the niche luxury market. So what is Diptyque today? Because it has such a rich historic background, so we must ask ourselves, what is Diptyque today? Today, Diptyque is 56 countries, more than 89 perfumes and 4 types of products. It's not the same small brand it was before. It's now huge, but remain a niche luxury house. Of course, the direction also changed a lot. Fabien Monny served as CEO of Diptyque from 2007 to 2024, leading the brand through a period of significant global expansion while preserving its artisanal roots and distinctive Parisian identity. Under leadership, Diptyque evolved from a niche fragrance house into a globally recognized luxury brand, known for its artistic collaboration and refined sensorial experience. Laurence Semichon succeeded Monny as CEO in July 2024. Previously Senior Vice President of Brand since 2019, Semichon brings deep expertise from a time at LVMH with Givenchy and Louis Vuitton. Her vision of diptychs emphasizes innovation, sustainability, and reinforcing the brand's creative heritage while expanding its global footprint. And I won't bore you more with diptychs' history, even if I think I could last on it for a fair amount of time. So now let's go into the brand. What is Diptyque's brand? Now let me tell you more about the brand in itself. It's always quite hard to define a brand, but with Diptyque it's quite different because they have a very strong identity. The name in itself, Diptyque, is already a meaning. Taken from a Greek word, it's also quite significant in the painting field. A diptyque is a type of painting when we have two panels facing each other that often respond to each other or complement each other. It's something that we see in their fragrances and in their candles. They often try to blend new scents with each other to try to complement them or to respond to each other. They like to play on contrast and on novelty. Another element that we often see in diptyque is the oval form. The oval form is a very distinct code to diptyque. They also often make these ovals with writing, as we can see. And in this oval, often we find the logo. The logo of diptyque, which was designed back then, is still used today. It's often redesigned and reused in new perfumes and candles, but you can always find it somehow. And finally, the colors, black and white. Rather than focusing on vivid colors, diptyques opted for simplicity, clarity, but it also makes the brand feel a bit more high-end and luxurious. But more than that, I feel like the intention of the creator was to put forward that the focus of diptyque was not really that much of the appearance and catering to the customer, but not like of developing art, a creation, and it was more than to just do something beautiful, it was to express themselves, and I felt like the rawness of black and white was perfect for this. Diptyque is a brand that is rooted in passion. Diptyque wouldn't have been born if there wasn't that much passion in the three founders for their art. But it's also a tribute to memory. Like you will see later in the video, most of Diptyque creation had a link to memory. It's a very important component of the brand. Just like craft was as a very core of the creation of Diptyque, and arts too. Art is the moving motion of the brand. So now you can ask me, then what does it mean concretely about communication, ads, brand models? What does a brand do to communicate, to make itself known? Well, not much. Actually, Diptyque doesn't really invest into ads and communication. Diptyque doesn't have a brand models. Why? Again, because it focuses on craft and arts. It's not here to become a huge mass perfume brand. It's a niche brand that is here to caters to passionate, to perfume lovers, and to an art lover more globally. The idea behind the creation of L'Eau in 1968 was to reinterpret and modernize an old-fashioned potpourri recipe inspired by 16th century English toiletry and hygiene traditions. The founders were inspired by Renaissance-era English potpourris and Persian waters, which were made from a mix of clove, cinnamon, rose, and other botanicals, were used for refreshing linens, clothes, and hands. L'Eau was designed to feel both familiar and mysterious, a blend of spicy, floral, and herbal notes, unlike anything in mainstream perfumery at the time. The scent reflected Diptyque's commitment to storytelling and craftsmanship, not trends. They weren't trying to chase what was fashionable, but instead revive a poetic and historical olfactory experience. L'Eau features ingredients like cinnamon, rose, geranium, cloves, and sandalwood. And one thing you may notice is that every perfume since L'Eau contains the sound O to remember this first fragrance. The result was a non-gendered, intellectual, nostalgic, and memory-rich scent, evoking antique apothecaries, herbal cabinets, and old-world refinements. At the time, the perfume industry was dominated by glamorous, mass-appeal French perfumes. L'Eau stood out as intellectual, nostalgic, and niche, marking Diptyque's entry into personal fragrance and setting the tone for his future as a brand grounded in history, artistry, and unique storytelling. L'Autre, meaning the other in French, is one of Diptyque's most enigmatic, unconventional, and daring fragrances. It emerged from a time when the brand was experimenting boldly with cultural references, spices, and earthy materials rarely found in Western perfumery. The scent was inspired by Middle Eastern spice markets, ancient rituals, and the idea of austerity, the infamiliar, the exotic, the sacred. As such, it features ingredients like cardamom, pepper, but also many other types of the spices and aromatic plants. It makes the fragrance feel primal, dry, and austere. As such, it defies perfume norms. There is no sweetness, no floral grace, only earth, heat, and memory. It doesn't really smell perfumed. It smells like someone's body after a ritual bath or spice rub, warm and human. It's kind of a love it or hate it fragrance, prized by those who want something ancient, dry, and cerebral. But it's not about being pretty or decorative. It's a transportative, raw, almost primal fragrance designed to evoke foreign lands, history, as a sacred body. The name L'Autre suggests an encounter with a other, with that which is foreign or beyond the self. L'Eau Trois, Water 3 in English, was Diptyque's third personal fragrance after L'Eau and L'Autre. Created by Yves Queslot, they were designed as an olfactory tribute to the sacred hills of Mount Athos in Greece, where he spent time as a young man. The scent is steeped in memory, particularly the scent of resinous herbs, burning incense, and sun-baked stones around Greek monasteries. It was meant to capture the spiritual austerity and elemental beauty of the place, dry, intense, and almost monastic in its simplicity. Unlike floral or fruity fragrances, L'Eau Trois is raw and realistic. The main note of L'Eau Trois is thyme, but you can also find other type of notes, mostly earthy one. Another groundbreaking one is pine, which was really uncommon at the time, making it elemental, meditative, but also quite simple. L'Eau Trois isn't made to be pretty, it's emotional, earthy, and mysterious. It smells exactly like a Greek hillside in summer, with hints of a religious ritual and dry vegetation. It's one of Diptyque's most personal creation, a scent of spiritual nostalgia. There is no sweetness of softness here, just sun, stone, smoke, and herbs. L'Ombre dans l'eau, the shadow in the water, is often described as the olfactory twin of Diptyque's iconic candle, Bae. It was revolutionary at the time for being one of the first fragrances to evoke a naturalistic, emotional scene rather than a stylized, abstract bouquet. The name is poetic, almost paradoxical, light and shadow, rose and leaf, beauty and melancholy. It's often interpreted as a green rose, which was highly unconventional at the time. This fragrance is known for its balance of lush greenery and delicate florality, with notes like blackcurrant leaf, Bulgarian rose, Dasmak rose, musk, ambergris. At a time when florals were mostly powdery or aldehydic, like Chanel No. 5, L'Ombre dans l'eau felt fresh, raw, and real. It wasn't a pretty perfume in the conventional sense, it was a mood. Fresh, poetic, and naturalistic. The fragrance captures a moment in nature, a person resting under a blackcurrant bush, crushing the leaves in their hands, surrounded by blooming roses, next to a quiet, reflective body of water. It's an impressionistic scent, more like a memory of filling the rather than a traditional perfume, calm, green, and introspective. L'eau Lente, slow water, was created to evoke sacred slowness, the passage of time, and ritualistic stillness. It's a meditative, resinous, and spicy fragrance inspired by the aromatic rituals of ancient civilization, particularly Byzantine incense ceremonies, Eastern spice bazaar, and the thick air of centuries-old temple. Rather than focusing on the literal location or plant, L'eau Lente is built around the mysticism of cinnamon and myrrh, two of the oldest known perfume ingredients, giving it a deeply spiritual, antique, and almost occult aura. This is not a casual perfume. It's slow, smoky, and sacred. It features ingredients like cinnamon, cloves, different types of spices, cedarwood, amber, and resin, making it dense, fiery, but also a bit languid. L'eau Lente smells like old books, sacred fires, and time slowed down. It avoids any sweetness, giving cinnamon a raw, elemental quality. It's also ungendered and ancient. It's not flashy or pretty, it's meant to be sat with, like a poem or a prayer. It's a slow-burning perfume, dense with resins and spices, invoking the languid rhythm of sacred rites. Olène is Diptyque ode to twilight in the Venetian garden, a perfume that captures the intoxicating air of a warm evening when white flowers bloom under a violet sky and the world feels hushed, romantic, and full of secrets. The name Olène is fictitious, chosen for its elegant lyrical sound, a soft whisperer that evokes femininity and mystery. This fragrance was inspired by Italy's lush gardens, particularly in Venice, where jasmine, honeysuckle, and wisteria intertwine along balconies and walls, releasing their scent into the night air. It's a dreamy floral nocturne, delicate yet rich, light but emotionally resonant scent. As such, it features notes like narcissus, ylang-ylang, jasmine, but also wisteria. It has a soft powdery character, yet remains airy and translucent, making it dreamy, nocturne, and gentle. Unlike abstract florals, Olène feels like walking through an actual blooming garden. It's soft and radiant without being sweet. It's classic without being old-fashioned. It doesn't smell like your grandma. A scent that lingers on scarves, in memories, and in the hair behind you. One spray and you're beneath ivy-covered arches in Italy, surrounded by scent and moonlight. As night falls, the white flowers of Venice whisper stories into the air, jasmine, honeysuckle, and wisteria weaving the spell. Philosykos means a friend of the fig tree, and it was created as a tribute to Greek summers, specifically those spent among wild fig trees on Mount Pelion, where the founders of Diptyque often vacationed. Rather than focusing on just the fig fruit, Philosykos celebrates the entire tree: milky sap, green leaves, sun-warmed wood, and dry bark. It's a complete portrait of the fig in its natural habitat. As such, it features notes like fig, but also fig leaves, a creamy note, and cedarwood, but also pepper. When launched in 1996, fig was radically underused in notes. Philosykos made it iconic. It smells grounded, pure, but also creamy. Philosykos smells not like a dessert or a composed object, but like a moment in nature, an interplay between cool shade and warm light. A fig tree on a sun-drenched Greek hillside, surrounded by dry grass and soft wind. Ofrésia was created to celebrate the delicate, peppery contrast of freesia, a flower known more for its clean, slightly citrus floral scent, rather than for its intensity, but Diptyque, true to its form, saw a deeper layer. The name combines eau, possibly a reference to eau or poetic invocation, and Ofrésia, but rather than treating the flower as simply sweet or pretty, Diptyque highlights its spicy undercurrent. The result is a scent that's fresh and innocent on the surface, but cut with a dry, almost metallic black pepper accord that gives it a distinct edge. It's a perfume of dualities, featuring ingredients like peppers, but also freesia flowers and cedar wood, making it innocent but also contrasting and watery. Most freesia scents are sweet or powdery. This one is not. It's perfect for someone who wants a scent that is subtle but unforgettable. It's clean, light and modern, never overpowering, always refined. The juxtaposition of floral innocence and peppery dryness makes it both classic and a little edgy. It's a floral contradiction, with a soft, sweet freesia meets a dry spice of white pepper. Oyédo is inspired by Tokyo, formerly spelled Yedo, and the fragrance expresses the Japanese aesthetic of clarity, freshness and restraint, infused with Diptyque's love for citrus and herbal brightness. The name is a clever play on Yedo, Yuzu and Ode, referencing Yedo, the historical name for Tokyo, to evoke modernity and ancient culture, Yuzu, the prized Japanese citrus fruit that smells sharper and more aromatic than lemon, and Ode, a poetic tribute. This scent is clean and luminous, boasting with green and yellow citrus, yet underscored by aromatic herbs and soft musk, giving it both energy and calm, like a haiku in scent form. It features ingredients like yuzu, but also grapefruits, raspberries, thyme, and cedar wood, making it luminous, energetic, but elegant. It's not sweet or juicy, it's dry, sharp and radiant, like peeling a fruit in sunlight. It's a scent that is refreshing but very refined and uncluttered. It's cool and intellectual, equally suited for all. It's like a chilled citrus spritz on the hottest day. It's invigorating, very. It's an ode to the sharp brightness of this fruit, but the goal was to make it very, very elegant and to reduce this over-ripeness that people often have with citrusy perfumes. L'Eau des Hespérides takes its name from Greek mythology. The Hespérides were nymphs who tended a blissful garden in the far west, where golden citrus fruit, often interpreted as oranges, grew on magical trees. This mythical reference set the stage for a citrus fragrance with a twist. This isn't your average light, car-free citrus cologne. It's cooler, greener, and darker, offering a moody Mediterranean garden filled with moss, herbs, and citrus peels. L'Eau des Hespérides features ingredients like bitter orange, citrus, but also other green notes like peppermints, helichrysum, musk, and cedar wood. Slightly more structured and dry than other diptyque citrus scents, is often loved by those who prefer a green fougere or vintage-style cologne. As such, we can describe L'Eau des Hespérides as sharp, vintage, but also a bit medicinal. To describe it with one sentence, L'Eau des Hespérides feels like to be in the garden of the Hespérides. Citrus trees grow at the edge of the world, a bitter freshness, green and noble. Tam Dao was inspired by Yves Queslon's childhood memories in Vietnam, particularly the sacred forest of the Tonkin region and temples perfumed with sandalwood incense. The name refers to the Tam Dao mountain range, a misty forested region in northern Vietnam, a place of serenity, spirituality, and depth. Diptyque created Tam Dao to express the soul of sandalwood, not as an accessory or a base note, but as the main character, pure, sacred, creamy, and soft, with accompanying notes that amplify its natural beauty. To do that, diptyques use different types of spices like cardamom, but also cypress, cedarwood, sandalwood, some creamy notes, but also amber and musk. Rarely, the perfumes treat sandalwood as a star. Tam Dao does it with reverence and intimacy, making it mystic, soulful, but also quiet. It's perfectly unisex. It's used by those who want calm over drama and presence over projection. Tam Dao feels ancient and modern, simple yet soulful. A fragrance for reflection, not for performance. It's inspired by temple incense, monastic calm, and the cool air of rested mountains. It's less a perfume, more a quiet place you step into. It's a reverent tribute to a single material, sandalwood. Doson is a fragrance rooted in a childhood memory, specifically the memories of Yves Quesnel, one of Diptyque's co-founder. He spent part of his youth in Doson, a seaside resort town in Ha Long Bay, Vietnam, where his mother loved wearing troubadours in a humid ocean breeze. This perfume is a sensory tribute to this memory. There, a classic French floral is reimagined through the lens of a Vietnamese coastal life. Doson is effectively a white floral fragrance, but with a much softer and more transparent than most tuberose heavy perfumes. It features notes like basilic, ylang-ylang, orange flowers, jasmine, tuberose, sandalwood, amber, but also patchouli. Most tuberose scents are intense, but Doson made it wearable, tender, and breezy. As such, it quickly became one of the best sellers of the brand. But above all, Doson remains a memory and is deeply nostalgic. A memory of a summer in Doson, along the sea, in the haze of a tuberose petals carried by the breeze. L'Eau de Lierre, literally ivy water, was conceived as a green aqueous scent, a celebration of ivy, the evergreen plant that climbs, wraps, and posits quietly in the background of old gardens and ancient ruins. Ivy has no scent in nature, which gave Diptyque a poetic challenge. How do you create the impression of ivy, its cool dampness, its green tendrils, and the mysterious shadowy spaces it inhabits? The result is a fragrance that's not about flowers or fruit, but about shade and stillness, a deeply non-perfume perfume, vaguely fresh, softly vegetal, and emotionally nostalgic. It features notes like ivy leaf, pink peppers, cyclamen, but also water notes, some wood, and some white musk. There's no really other scent quite like it. For lovers of clean, green, soft fragrances that feels natural and personal, that's the one for you. It's aqueous, dewy, and cool. L'Eau de Lierre doesn't really try to seduce, it invites you into stillness. It's a nod to ivy, an invisible but tenacious plant, symbolic of eternal attachment. Eau de Néroli was created as a tribute to the bitter orange tree, celebrating its most delicate and radiant expression, Néroli, the essential oil distilled from orange blossom. The fragrance captures the carefree freshness of a Mediterranean summer morning, while sunlight filters through citrus tree and the air is crisp with blossoms and greenery. Diptyque aimed to recreate the elegance of traditional colognes, clean, citrus-forward, fleeting, but with a sensual softness of orange blossom, giving it a more emotive, romantic quality. It's not simply refreshing, it's a poetic evocation of purity and ease, of skin kissed by sunlight and water. As such, it features notes like bergamot, vetiver, petit grain, but also orange blossoms and other type of blossom, sandalwood, and musk, making it carefree, romantic, and pure. It's simple, clean, and classic, a scent for beige skin and white shirts. Beyond brightness, it has softness and warmth, making it more than a fleeting splash. Anyone can wear it, and it feels like a morning breeze on a smile. It's refreshing, hairy, and never overpowering, ideal for warm climates and light moods. A morning breeze in the garden of orange trees, fresh, radiant, and full of grace. Eau Duelle was conceived as a duality of light and shadow centered around vanilla pod, a precious ingredient discovered through the exploration, trade, and ritual. Rather than a sugary or gourmand take, Eau Duelle approaches vanilla as something ancient, complex, and worldly, transporting us from mountains of Madagascar to sacred caravans, monasteries, and spice routes. Its name, Duelle, suggests a duality, referencing the contrast between warm and cool, spicy and sweet, earthy and hairy. It's a vanilla perfume for those who don't normally like vanilla, dry, resinous, and infused with mystery. It features notes like vanilla, pink peppers, but also incense, other green notes, but also musk and amber. It is ancient, complex, and worldly. It's dry, woody, smoky. No sugar, no syrup, just mature aromatic vanilla steeped in incense and spice. It doesn't shout, but it stays with you. It's universally wearable, of course, and it becomes uniquely personal on each skin. It's an odyssey through the vanilla route from the fragrant forest of Madagascar to the temples of incense. Vetyverio was born from a desire to reinvent vetiver, traditionally a masculine-coded note, into something more nuanced, fluid, and radiant. Diptyque wanted to blur the lines between masculine and feminine, between sharp and soft, between earth and hair. The name itself is playful and elegant, a made-up word combining vetiver with an almost Italian or musical ending, yo, that adds lightness and flair. This fragrance is about balance. A vetiver that's not too smoky, not too grassy, not too grain, but multi-faceted, revealing citrus, floral, and woody tones depending on the moment. It's not just a raw material, but a composition that reveals vetiver hidden elegance. It features ingredients like grapefruit, different types of roses, patchouli, but also, of course, vetiver, making it a scent that is nuanced but also fluid and very balanced. It's not overly green, and it's truly unisex. The base is vetiver forward, but light, dry, and refined, more like freshly cut grass and pencil shaving than smoke or dirt. It's very easy to wear and is great for both professional settings and casual days. 34 Boulevard St Germain. Named after the address of Diptyque's original boutique in Paris, it's a celebratory fragrance created for the brand's 50th anniversary. The idea was to bottle the boutique itself, that is, recreate the intermingled scent of all the candles, perfumes, waxes, woods, resins, and textile inside the historic shop. Rather than a singular narrative like Philosykos or Doson, this fragrance is a collage, a perfumed snapshot of Diptyque's universe, while spice, florals, green notes, and woods blend like the hair inside a store filled with scent. As such, it features a lot of notes, like cinnamon, cloves, pink peppers, different types of roses, iris, amber, cedarwood, vanilla, sandalwood, making it mesmerizing, personal, but also unplaceable. This perfume feels like walking through the boutique and catching different scent vignettes with every step. 34 evolves constantly on the skin, making it mesmerizing, personal. It's an olfactory kaleidoscope. Every object, candle, and fragrance echoing off the wall of the boutique is now wearable. A sense that recalls opening the boutique's door with its layered warmth and mystery. It's a nod to Diptyque's origin, but in a modern, abstract form. Volutes, meaning curls of smoke in French, is a center of memory inspired by Yves Quislin's childhood travel from Marseille to Saigon by boat. Specifically, it recalls the image of elegant women smoking clove cigarettes on deck, their scarves catching in the wind, and the complex perfume of tobacco, iris, and faraway spices curling through the hair. It's a dream of travel, filtered through memory, warm wind, lipstick, spices, and smoke. Volutes is both intimate and grand, sophisticated and haunting, and scent that feels like a novel. It features ingredients like cinnamon, tobacco, iris, honey, and different type of resin, making it an experience that is haunting but also sophisticated, like I said before. Volutes is not harsh or leathery, but elegant and mysterious, blending smoke with velvet. It's one of Diptyque's most narrative-driven scents. It's like a perfume and a film in one. It's sophisticated, complex, and timelessly evocative. It whirls like a secret memory, close to the skin, but impossible to forget. It's a voyage across time and memory, a scent of clove, cigarette, drifting smoke, and powdered elegance. Eau Rose was designed as a tribute to the true essence of the rose. Not just any rose, it captures the entire plant, from petal to thorn, bud to fruit. It's a contemporary green take on a rose perfume, emphasizing naturalism and nuance rather than vintage powderiness or over sweetness. The idea was to blend the freshness of a blooming rose with the greenness of its leaves and the tang of its fruit, resulting in a multi-dimensional, realistic rose garden in a bottle. As such, it features ingredients like lychee, different type of roses, artichoke, chamomile, musk, and cedarwood. Unlike synthetic or powdery rose perfumes, Eau Rose captures the smell of a living rose bush. It feels minimalist, sophisticated, and vivid. It works beautifully on its own or paired with musk, woods, or other florals for a personalized skin scent. Eau Rose is the very essence of the flower, the freshness of petals, the green crispness of leaves, and the fruity tang of the rose heap. Eau Mohéli is inspired by the tiny Indian Ocean island of Mohéli, part of the Comoros archipelago where the ylang-ylang flower grows in abundance. Rather than presenting ylang-ylang as creamy or overly sweet, as it's often used in perfumery, Diptyque treats the flower in this raw, wild state, green, spicy, floral, and sun-soaked, like the wind-swept landscape of the island itself. It's a scent of nature untouched, with heat, salt, sap, and floral hair intermingling. It features ingredients like ylang-ylang, of course, pink pepper, ginger, and also vetiver, making it very sunny, comforting, but also timeless. The fragrance is not just a perfume, it's a botanical expedition, both respectful of the land and expressive of the living power of this flower. It feels like walking through an island jungle, not a perfume shop. It's perfect for warm climates or lovers of green florals. Eau Mohéli is a landscape. It's a flower in its natural state, ylang-ylang surrounded by green leaves, peppers, and woody light. Benjoin Bohème is a tribute to the material of the same name, a sweet amber-like resin derived from the styrax tree of Laos. The names evokes of the free-spirited elegance of bohemian life, artists, poets, and wanderers surrounded by incense smoke, antique wood, and velvet. It's not literal bohemia, but a dreamlike interpretation of warmth, atmosphere, and soul. It, of course, features some benjoin, but it also features other type of notes like angelica roots, styrax, but also sandalwood, patchouli, and different type of musk, making it feel sensual, smoky, and vivid. Benjoin Bohème wraps you in comfort, but always keeps a little bohemian enigma. It's like wearing a velvet shawl, a handwritten poem, or temple smoke, elegant and evocative. It's not pristine, though. It's warm, human, and soulful. It's perfect for lovers of incense, amber, and depth. Benjoin Bohème is about softness and mystery, the glow of candlelight on old books, scented temples, or a Parisian atelier filled with inspiration. Eau de Sens, literally water of the senses, is a multisensory fragrance designed to simulate not just smell, but a memory of touch, taste, and sound. It's a synesthetic scent, the smell of orange blossom, the taste of citrus, the shimmer of cool hair, and the rustling of leaves. inspired by the entire bitter orange tree, from its blossom to its bark and fruit. Eau de Sens aims to recreate the full sensory experience of brushing against a citrus grove, all in one bright, fizzy and slightly bitter perfume. As such, it features notes like orange blossom, but also bitter orange, juniper berries, angelica root or patchouli. This scent has rhythm and clarity, like walking barefoot through a Mediterranean orchard. It feels invigorating, bitter and a bit edgy too. It's one of the few perfumes that genuinely evokes sound, temperature and touch as much as scent. It's refreshing enough for daily wear, but layered and subtle enough to feel sophisticated and unique. The bitter citrus and herbal contrast gives it unisex energy with emotional warmth. Eau de Sens is an orange tree in all its glory: bark, leaves, fruit and blossom, a vibration, a ripple, a feeling of the unexpected. Fleur de Peau, flower of skin, is Diptyque's olfactory homage to the myth of Psyche and Eros, the ancient Greek love stories that symbolizes sensuality, intimacy, and emotional depth. The perfume was designed to evoke skin, closeness, and eroticism, but in a subtle, emotional, and modern way. It's essentially an exploration of the sensuality of musk, but elevated through tenderness and myth. As such, Fleur de Peau is a very complex perfume with a lot of different type of notes. We can find aldehydes, pink peppers, but also angelica, iris, rose, musk, ambrette, carrot, and also ambergris. Instead of the loud animalistic musk of the past, Fleur de Peau centers on clean, powdery, sensual musk that melt into the skin, like a second skin or memory. The fragrance is meant to smell like someone you love, or the feeling of being held, intimate, soft, and emotional. Fleur de Peau arrived during a surge in demand for your skin but better fragrances, capitalizing on the minimalist emotional trend in perfumery. Here, Diptyque used storytelling, mythology, to enrich the sensory experience. Again, like most Diptyque creations, it transcends gender. It smells natural on all skin type, adapting to the wearer. Tempo was released to mark Diptyque's 50th anniversary, and it honors patchouli, the iconic notes of the 1960s counterculture, but with a modern, refined twist. Rather than leaning into the heavy, muddy patchouli of the past, Tempo reimagined it as something hairy, layered and mystical. A fragrance about time, rhythm, and transformation. The name tempo suggests not only music and rhythm, but also movements through time, an olfactory note to the changing perception of patchouli, from a rebellious scent of freedom to a timeless element of sophistication. As such, tempo features ingredients like violet leaf, but also patchouli, and other type of green notes like mate, but also clary sage, making it very hairy, mystical, but also layered. If you think you don't like patchouli, try tempo. It's elevated, soft, and multidimensional. It's worn like a cashmere wrap, and it's ideal for introverts, artists, nature lovers, or anyone who craves stillness. It kind of wears like a ritual, unfolding over time in spaces. It's a perfume that changes a lot over skin and time. Eau Capitale was created as Diptyque's first official shape, a fragrance structure that is classically Parisian, elegant, and architectural. It was designed as a love letter to Paris, not just the city's beauty, but also its contrast, romanticism, history, and irreverence. Diptyque wanted to avoid cliché of Parisian perfume, that is to say, powdery roses and overly sweet florals, and instead reinvented the idea of French sophistication with something more modern, daring, and multifaceted. As such, it features ingredients like bergamot, pink peppers, different types of roses, and patchouli. No sugary notes, no violet, just elegance with edge, Through centered on rose and patchouli, it wears effortlessly on all genders. It makes the fragrance multi-face, daring but also effortless. The design and storytelling, including the Art Nouveau-inspired label, tie back to Paris as a cultural capital of scent and style. For Diptyque, only this perfume could capture the spirit of Paris, the perfume of excess and elegance, of Grand Boulevard and secret gardens. Eau de Minthé draws its name from Minthé, a nymph from Greek mythology who was transformed into a mint plant by Persephone. Inspired by this myth and the aromatic freshness of mint, Diptyque set out to reimagine the fougère, one of perfumery's oldest and most iconic fragrance families. The fougère, meaning foam in French, typically blends lavender, oak moss, and comaha. Eau de Minthé keeps the spirit of that structure but infuses it with aromatic mint and floral rose, turning a traditionally masculine archetype into something more fluid, green and poetic. It obviously features ingredients like mint, but also different types of roses, geranium and patchouli, making it herbaceous but also icy and graceful. While staying rooted in classic perfumery, Eau de Minthé makes the fougère lighter, greener and more unisex. Rather than candle-like or clinical, this is mint with grace and mythology. It's invigorating enough for daytime, but with a soft base that lingers subtly into the evening. It wears like a breeze through a botanical garden. Rihla, sorry for the pronunciation guys, means journey or travelogue in Arabic, and Eau Rihla is Diptyque's olfactory exploration of the ancient spice routes, desert landscape, and nomadic wanderings. It was inspired by travel journals and historical adventures, particularly the tales of Ibn Battuta, the famed 14th century Moroccan explorer. Eau Rihla is a woody, spicy, leathery composition, layered with musk and sweetly resinous undertones. It's essential yet composed, capturing the dry elegance of faraway lands. It features ingredients like raspberry, but also spices like saffron, pink peppers, leather, iris, cedarwood, vanilla, and musk. As such, it feels luminous, warm, and elegant. This perfume is an invitation to travel, not through destination names, but through atmosphere, texture, and memory. It manages to be leathery and spicy without being heavy or dark. Instead, it's luminous, like warm hair carrying the scent of leather and wood in the desert. Another unisex scent, by the way. It doesn't skew overtly masculine or feminine. It's kind of for the curious and contemplative. Eau Rihla is a journey captured in scent, the scent of a leather notebook, gently spiced air, and a path ahead shimmering under the sun. Orphéon was launched as a tribute to Diptyque's birthplace and creative spirit in 1960s Paris, specifically a bar of the same name, located next to the original Diptyque's boutique. Orphéon is a modern woody aromatic scent that features notes like juniper berries, but also jasmine, powdery notes, tonka beans, and cedarwood. Orphéon mixes classically masculine notes like juniper and wood with feminine notes like powder, tonka beans, in a perfectly unisex formula. It's less about flowers or fantasy, more about environment and presents a you had to be there kind of experience. With that, it feels like an intimate, modern, but emotional scent. The fragrance recreates the ambience of a Parisian jazz club in the early 1960s, where artists, designers, and bohemians gathered, a blend of tobacco smoke, gin cocktails, with paneling, makeup parlors, and human warmth. It's both nostalgic and modern, a memory of a real place reimagined in a wearable form. Eau Papier is quite new, but it's already one of the best sellers of the brand. Eau Papier was designed to celebrate the creative act itself, specifically the intimate moment when ink touches paper, where a blank page begins to tell a story. It's an ode to imagination, to quiet moments of writing, sketching, or dreaming. Rather than evoking a place or a specific memory, it explores texture, thought, and expression. This fragrance explores olfactory minimalism. It smells like paper, skin, and ink, subtle, misty, and abstract, making it one of Diptyque's most personal, introspective fragrances to date. It features ingredients like rice, mimosa, but also musk, and different types of blonde woods. This perfume is quietly groundbreaking. It's one of the first Diptyque scents to focus on creativity, reflection, and process. You can almost feel the grain of the paper, the thread of ink, the warmth of skin on the journal. It's abstract, secretive, and clean. It wears like a soft aura, skin scent, clean, ulterior. It's a scent of studio morning, tunneling nights, or reading a narrow window. This perfume is the opposite of loud. It's a scent for your inner world. Eau Nabati, Nabati meaning natural or nature in Arabic, was released as Diptyque's La Collection des Rêveries, a collection inspired by imaginary gardens and dreamlike landscape. Nabati draws directly from the poetic imagery of the oasis garden, a lush green sanctuary hidden within a vast sun-scorched desert. The scent explores a fantastical contrast, the dry heat of the dunes versus the lush shade of palm trees, aromatic herbs, and cool stone basins. Nabati is a mirage of nature, an imagined green life blooming where it shouldn't exist, inspired by Middle Eastern calligraphy, light, and poetry. It is both botanical and abstract, sensual and meditative, celebrating greenery in arid places. It features ingredients like petit rhum, but also bergamot, everlasting flower, amber, resin, and sandalwood. It's verdant, flourishing, and deep. It feels like you're smelling a garden that appears in a dream, unreal but vivid. It's rooted in tradition, but expressed in a clean, contemporary style. It's deeply meditative and suited for quiet strength and inner stillness. Rose Roche, meaning rock rose or rose stolen in French, is not your traditional rose. It's inspired by a rose blooming in sunlight, dew, and stone, embodying lightness, mineral hair, and crystalline kind of beauty. Unlike lush velvety rose perfume, Rose Roche is airy, radiant, and faceted like quartz or pink crystal. It captures the feeling of a rose garden up down, where petals shimmer with dew and the scent carries a fizzy mineral sparkle, more celestial than cobble, and more fresh than opulent. It plays on contrast, softness and clarity, floral and mineral, petals and stone. It's about purity and luminosity, more about texture, light, and not heaviness or sweetness. As such, it features ingredients like lemon, different types of roses, and patchouli, making it immortal, adventurous, and unexpected. It perfectly demonstrates the idea of a rose blossoming between rocks, kissed by dew and sun. It's graceful and elegant, but free of cliché or excess. It feels alive and modern. This clean, musky, and obvious scent is great for layering or daily wear. LunaMaris, meaning sea moon in Latin, was inspired by the Alentejo coast in Portugal, where moonlight meets the Atlantic and salt, wind, and aromatic plants dance in the night air. It's not your typical marine scent, no artificial aquatic notes here. Instead, it's about coastal herbs, salt spray, and the calming rhythm of moonlit waves. Think cool white light reflecting on the sea, filtered through amber and maritime stillness. This scent, which was also inspired by Lac, features ingredients like pink peppers, incense, and other green notes, making it marine, serene, and calming. But it avoids a cliché of aquatic genre. It feels real, grounding, and poetic. It captures a coastal solitude, like walking along a cliffside under the moon. It's a perfect skin scent with complexity. It's a perfect for those who love fresh, green and mineral scents that don't shout. It's a walk by the sea, under the moon. Bois Corsé, meaning intense wood in French, was inspired by the deep, shadowy forests of Corsica, where chestnut trees, resins, and smoky accords swirl with a memory of burning embers, black coffee, and wild herbs. Bois Corsé evokes a rugged Mediterranean landscape, ancient, sandbird, smoky, and its dual nature of heat and shade, fire and herbs. The scent is not a polite wood. It's rich, dark, slightly bitter, and comforting like a fire in a stone house, with a touch of aromatic sharpness. It's not really for those of you who like soft perfume, but it's also surprisingly gourmand, like roasted chestnuts or coffee grounds. It features ingredients like coffee beans, but also tonka and cedar wood and sandalwood, making it deep, earthy, and wandering. It's like touching bark, breathing in embers, sipping strong coffee outdoors. It's very rich, but without being overpowering. It's great for fall, winter, or evening wear. It's not traditionally masculine or feminine, it's just soulful and raw. It smells like the heart of Corsica, aromatic, rugged, and quietly powerful. With Lilyphéa, Diptyque imagines a dreamlike lily, a flower both real and fantastical, blooming in a lush, enchanted garden. The name itself blends lily with the suffix "phea", evoking nymph, fairies, and ethereal beauty. It's a reimagined lily, not sharp or powdery like traditional lily scent, but soft, green, and hairy, with delicate aquatic notes and a musky floral veil. Lilyphéa feels like a fairy tale in bloom, while floral sap and moist petals float on a gentle breeze through dewy leaves and twilight. As such, it features notes like violet, cardamom, ginger, cedarwood, but also vanilla, making it enchanted, dewy, and bright. It straddles a line between innocence and elegance, freshness and sensuality. It's a perfect daytime floral with a quiet confidence. It feels like walking barefoot in a storybook garden. It's a lily imagined in the dream, its scent flowing through green leaves and dew, soft and suspended in hair. And I also personally like to tie it with money garden, because, Lilyphéa is a great name for money garden, and his famous painting of the nymphs. And finally, the last scent I will present to you today, Corail Oscuro, meaning dark coral in a poetic blend of French and Spanish. It's a scent born from a fantasy of the ocean abyss. Inspired by black corals, this is not the beach scent, but a dive into the depth of the ocean, while salt, shadow, and sensuality collide. The scent imagines a coral as a living, breathing creature, pulsing with spice, musk, and mystery, warmed by volcanic energy and cooled by sea spray. It's a marine ambery spice fragrance, but not like any other, salty, mineral, fury, and carnal. It conjures vision of molten rock meeting water, storm-lit coasts, and ancient maritime myth. As such, it features ingredients like oranges and citrus zest, but also roses and different type of minerals like salt. It's quite far from fresh, aquatic. It's deep, elemental, and emotional. It evokes stormy coasts and the water caverns and lava-cooled earths. That's why I like to describe it as innovative, nostalgic, but also very profound. It feels like a coastal legend made perfume, volcanic, mythic, maritime. It's a mineral breath of the sea, warmed by sunken fire. It's a coral imagined in the calmness, in the darkness. And some of your favorite celebrity may even wear Diptyque perfume. For example, Jin from BTS and Hoyeon Jin from Le Seraphim both wear Philosykos from Diptyque. Gracie Abrams wears Olène from the same brand, and Margolby and Saint-Ondine from Zero Base One wears Fleur de Peau. As such, it highlights how Diptyque is today a unisex brand that explores a lot of notes and fragrances. And sadly, this is the end of this video. I hope you liked it and that you got to learn more about this brand, Diptyque, that I really like. And it would be amazing if you could tell me what brand do you want to see next? And did you manage to find a scent that you would like to try? Tell me more about it. See you soon!